I am a proud American of Puerto Rican heritage, small business owner, U.S. Air Force veteran, conservative woman. And this is Sunday Mornings with Yvette, the Conservarican. Good morning, and welcome to Mornings with Yvette, the Conservarican. Thank you for sharing your Sunday morning with me. As you can see, I am not home. I traveled this weekend, so I am doing the recording in a hotel room in Miami. So I have to tell you, it was an experience to come to Miami with this COVID-19 stuff. I am from Collier County, actually Marco Island, and our city, it's functioning normal. We're in Collier County, so when you come to this part of town on the east coast of Florida, and you see that they make you wear a mask when you go into a restaurant, but then as soon as you sit down, you don't have to wear it. Also, there was 7 of us at a restaurant. So the waiter came and said, well, we can only sit 6, otherwise we can get in trouble, but if one of you stands, then it's okay. So that was kind of weird. I mean, you still have 7 people, but as long as one stands, it's okay. You can't just sit down. So it was a different experience. I mean, it was a good time, but totally different from what I've been experiencing in Collier County. So good news for Florida. The Republican National Convention announced that the party will have the convention in Jacksonville, Florida. So we're looking forward to seeing our president accept his nomination. And these are exciting times for our state and Republicans in Florida and all over the United States. It will be a great time. It will be a great thing for the economy on that part of the state. And so we're really looking forward to the convention. So we're excited about that. At least I am. I know a lot of people are too. Moving on to the comments that Biden made regarding Martin Luther King and George Floyd. So let me make it clear. What happened to George Floyd was a tragedy. That should have never happened to George Floyd, and it should never happen to anybody, no matter what race, color, the person is. It was a tragedy. It was something that nobody agrees that should have happened. Now, putting that aside, but I just wanted to clarify that because lately, when I see people commenting about the case George Floyd and what happened, people make it sound like they're being racist because they bring up the criminal record of George Floyd, which again, it's not about that just because he was a criminal, he deserved that. That's not what people are saying. What people are saying, it's actually that why are we making this man a martyr? It's crazy to think that a person with that kind of record, again, not saying that he deserved what happened to him, but many great people die. Many great Black Americans die every day. Innocent Black Americans Black American heroes like the security guard or retired policeman that was actually working as a security guard for the pawn shop that was shot, 77-year-old, wasn't in the news. Nobody was outraged about that killing. Why is that? Nobody was outraged about the white cop that was shot at. Nobody's been outraged about all the killings of policemen. Again, not saying that what happened to George Floyd was okay. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that lately in this country, what we see with our society is that bad behavior gets recognition. And unfortunately for the minority communities, I'm Puerto Rican, so I am considered a minority. So I know how minorities feel sometimes because I have been discriminated against. I've been called horrible names. Like I said last Sunday. But it's because I think in our culture, especially with the minorities, like all you see is the bad side. Not all Black Americans are criminals. Not all Latinos are criminals. Not all white cops are bad cops. We shouldn't be generalizing. We have great people in our communities. Great people in our minority communities, Black communities and Latino communities. But unfortunately, we don't see that. We don't see the recognition for those good people that actually represent our culture. You don't see any of that. I guess it doesn't sell. When you look at TV shows and you see what's on TV, it's really degrading. It's really like, oh my God. Mama June, Hot or Not, I think it's the name of that show. And then you look at it, 90 Day Fiance, Love After Lockup. I mean, those kind of shows that it's like, wow. And they must be doing good because they're still on TV, so people probably watch them. But I don't understand it. It's crazy to think that good behavior has no recognition these days. So for Biden to say that he kind of like said that Martin Luther King's didn't have the same impact. The assassination of Martin Luther King didn't have the same impact as George Floyd had. There's no comparison there. Martin Luther King is a hero to all Americans, not only to Black Americans. I mean, he was a hero. He was the man that spoke in defense of nonviolence. He refused to promote violence as a solution to the ills of society. He was a man that fought for civil rights. And that's how we remember Martin Luther King. There's no comparison. And we shouldn't be comparing George Floyd to Martin Luther King, in my opinion. And I know in the opinion of many people that admire Martin Luther King. Again, not saying that what happened to George Floyd was okay, because that's not what I'm saying. But the way they have televised and people got to the streets and the violence and the destruction, and they're still protesting, and I still don't know what is it that they're still protesting. The men that are accused of the crime, they are already charged. So I am not sure what is it that we're protesting now. There's discrimination, yes. I can't say there's not, because I have been discriminated against. But is that going to define me? Am I going to be a victim of my circumstances? No. Because this is the greatest country in the world. And there's equal opportunity in this country for everyone. That it is not a perfect country? Yes, it's not perfect. That there's racism in this country? Yes, there is. And that's always going to be. It is not going to disappear. It is not. It is not okay to be racist, but realistically, it's always going to be there. So, yes, we need to make sure that everybody has equal opportunity, and that's okay. And that's okay to speak up about that. And it's okay to peacefully assemble and talk about it. We should be reaching out to our elected officials to see what else we can do to kind of correct whatever problems we're having now. But for the most part, I have to say that in this country, everyone has equal opportunity. I mean, to the point where we had a black president for 8 years, and black Americans are some of the best paid athletes in the world. Latino baseball players are some of the best athletes paid in the world. We have Tiger Woods, a black golfer. I mean, he's mixed, but, you know, his father was African American. We have Williams sisters in tennis. So we have come a long way. And the way we've come a long way, it's by not being a victim of our circumstances, but striving to be a better person, getting educated, getting out of that cycle, and fighting for our dreams. So, in my opinion, there's no comparison between George Floyd and Martin Luther King. Now we move on to defunding the police. Really, are you kidding me? Do you know who you're going to hurt the most by defunding the police? The minority communities. You know why? Because like it or not, our communities have a lot of problems, especially in the inner cities. And we need to accept that. It is part of that culture in the inner cities. Unfortunately, we have good people also living there. And what's going to happen if you defund the police? Who's going to get hurt? Those good families that can't afford to move out of those at-risk communities and have to stay there. And now if you defund the police, guess what? The criminals will be running the neighborhood, and those families are going to have to stay there, and what are they going to do? They're at their mercy. So why is defunding the police the answer to all this? Just because there's a few bad apples that we need to get rid of, just like there's a few bad apples in every profession. I mean, there's many bad apples in Congress right now. And they've been there for 30 years, 20 years. And they need to go. But people keep voting them in. And they've been in there for this long and haven't done anything for the people. We had a black president for 8 years. What did he do for black Americans? What did he do for Latinos? Nothing. Because guess what? We mean nothing to politicians. Nothing at all. We mean nothing to politicians. That's the way it is. That's the way it's been. And unfortunately, minority communities don't get involved. They don't get involved. We need to get involved. We need to make sure we register to vote and we go to the voting booth. Exercise that right. We also need to make sure that we have more representation, so that when our communities need help, there's somebody there to help them. We also need to start being better parents. We need to teach our kids the history of this country. You cannot erase history. So now they want to get rid of these monuments because they're racist. Well, guess what? It is the history of our country, and we've come a long way. And you cannot erase history. It's there for a reason, so we don't repeat the mistakes that were made. So taking down monuments or renaming streets or renaming schools or renaming air bases is not going to solve anything. Because we need to be reminded of those mistakes so we don't repeat them again. So I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish by taking down all these monuments. But it's just a waste of time, because you cannot erase history. That's the bottom line. You cannot erase history. So yes, we've made many mistakes in the past. We're not a perfect country, but I can tell you we're the best country in the world. There's no other country like the United States of America. This is why everybody wants to come here. This is the land of opportunity. You come here because you know here you can have a better life. You can have a quality of life if you work for it. It's not going to fall from the sky. Just because you get here doesn't mean, oh, here I am. And magically, you rub that lamp and the genie comes out and then the great life comes out. No, you have to work for it. And that's the greatness of this country, because your hard work will pay off. So if you're happy with just a little bit, then you don't work as hard as somebody that wants more. So you have equal opportunity and the freedom to do whatever it is that you want. You can do as much or as little as you want, but it is up to you. It is just up to you. And in this country, color is beautiful. So we cannot be colorblind, because color is beautiful. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of my Puerto Rican heritage. I'm blessed to be an American. But I'm proud of my Puerto Rican heritage. I'm proud of my Puerto Rican culture, and that lives within me. And I teach my kids my culture, and I teach my kids about Puerto Rican traditions, because that's me. That's what I grew up with, and I want them to get to know that part of their culture. We're all Americans, but But all of us have different cultures, and that's what makes this country the greatest country in the world. It's like we need to see color. We need to see color because there's a reason why God designed color. Color, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful distinction because we're all unique. We're all special. But saying that, no matter what color we are, we got to learn how to live together in peace and harmony. Because in this country, we have the freedom to do that. We have the freedom to be friends with whoever we want, regardless of the race. We have the freedom to marry who we want, regardless of the race. We have the freedom to work with whoever we want, regardless of the race. And for the most part, I can say that in this country, I've been treated fairly. There's always going to be those bad apples because that's just life. That's just human nature. You're going to have bad people out there. You're going to have evil people out there. Evil in the world, there's no denial there is. The world is not perfect, and the United States is not the exception. But we need to fight for the foundation of this country, for our freedom, for our rights, and not let this violence and these tragedies push a narrative, push a liberal agenda, because that's all that is. All lives matter, and they matter no matter who takes the life. So starting with the baby in the womb, continuing with the race on race killings, blacks killing blacks, Latinos killing Latinos, white killing whites. All those lives matter. Life don't only matter when somebody from another race comes and pulls the trigger. Because that's the narrative we're sold. Because the media wants to create a war among races. Because if they divide us, then they will conquer. We cannot allow that. We cannot allow this country to fall apart. We need to see color, because color is beautiful. We just gotta love one another, accept one another, and live together in peace and harmony. So, thank you for sharing your Sunday morning with me. I enjoy our talks. I enjoy reading your emails. I thank you for your support. And remember, always stay true to yourself and never give up on your dreams, even when nobody else believes in them but you. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Until next Sunday, bye-bye.